I got into trouble. Listen, I'm always in trouble. But I got into trouble for having a row with the Labour Party about this time last week, after they had suggested that a number of people had been involved in something approximating certainly calumny, possibly corruption, and that one of those was our next guest, Associate Energy Minister Shane Jones, who had been accused by the Labour Party of being essentially treated by folk working in the field who were trying to undermine government policy when it came to fresh water, or even, in actual fact, putting mines in places where the environment was going to be at risk. Well, Shane Jones took umbrage at that. He took umbrage. And he's going to join us now, and I'm going to talk about something else too, which is the Otago situation with him too. But for the moment, Shane Jones joins us. Shane, welcome to the show. Did you get the wrong end of the stick, or do you think that you've been accused of corruption?
Hey, morning folks, kia ora. No, look, I've been away. I was at the big mining conference in Sydney. I would have rung you earlier, over 9,000 delegates, and I was speaking on behalf of New Zealand, reminding the rest of the world we're ready to go mining, mate. Look, what happened was that some months ago, I went down to the Bendigo station. I was with the local National MP, a very diligent chap, Miles, and we had a look around where Santana are going to dig out the gold, and then I caught a chopper along with a couple of others, and we went to, I think it's called Falls Dam, and I think the name of the group is called Manu Hedikia, which, by the way, means to get a bird to fetch something. And as matters went on, I declared in my records that we jumped on a helicopter and said that it had been paid for by the catchment group. And there's some woman who works for the catchment group who demanded that my office correct the record, and it was quite offensive actually, as I had misrepresented this catchment working group. And it transpired that my information was right all along, but of course this highly strung individual has refused to apologise or anything like that. And it's just these small issues feed to a dynamic that somehow, if I want to support water storage, irrigation, more mining, that somehow my hands aren't cleaned. I resent it. And my advice to the members of the Manu Hedikia group is advise whoever this woman is as your executive that I will not tolerate being dismissed or depicted as a dirty politician. And her behaviour and whatever has happened amongst themselves does not bode well for an effective working relationship if this is how we're going to be treated when we take very hard decisions to actually spend public money to effect better outcomes. The Regional Council of Otago has obviously been taken over by chemtrail-believing greenies, and they don't like our government, and we have been elected to get better water outcomes that are driven for economic purposes. Simple.
You make me laugh. Listen, Shane, so essentially the allegation was that you were in the pockets of a particular group of people and receiving blandishments for them in exchange for some sort of political favour, is that right?
Well, the reality is if you jump on a helicopter, your listeners may not know, you have to identify who actually is responsible for meeting the cost of it. It was a very efficient way to travel, I must say.
Yeah.
And the earthy blokes who met with me at that dam gave me a great introduction to the challenges. There's a postage stamp size dock land, and apparently this dock land blights their prospects, and this is exactly why we've been elected, to get rid of these bureaucratic obstacles.
Listen, while I've got you on the line, and changing the topic completely, the New Zealand Police undertook a quite significant raid of mongrel mob centres in the eastern North Island 2 days ago, and arrested, I think, about 28, 30 people, various charges, mostly related to methamphetamine and drug selling and things like that. But I wondered if you had any experience of a number of Maori leaders in that particular area of Aporiki have come out, and one of them is a Maori community leader, Te Aho. I don't know if you know him, and you'll know Tama Iti, who attended a meeting and said, listen, it was appalling that they didn't get permission from them first, and that local whānau of these mongrel mob members are traumatised by this sort of event. Is there a problem within some quarters of Maoridom that the mongrel mob are seen as so whānau that they can do no wrong, Shane?
New Zealand First has a very simple approach to gangs. If you join a gang and you've engaged in criminality and you've exposed your children to criminality and you've beat the bejesus out of your wives or your female partners, then you forsake the vast majority of rights you have within your Māori community. Gangs are not Māoritanga. Gangs are not in existence to advance the better interests of either New Zealand society or the whānau they come from. And why aren't people never standing up from within the ranks of Māoridom for the victims of gang crime, which are disproportionately, if not in some cases, totally their own people?
Yeah.
Their own people. So look, I don't know all the facts because before I was in Sydney promoting mining, I was in Singapore inviting investors to come and work with Māori landowners and other Kiwis to boost food security. But I think that the reports that I have read, they speak to a deeper problem. People are now afraid of the gangs, and that level of fear can only be met with a robust, bold, and unremitting approach, because unless we push this tide back and stand with the cops and other fair-minded Kiwis, then not only are whānau under threat, but the fabric of very communities it's unravelling, and in many respects supportive here, which is why Winston and I have supported the Muscle Venture, the new wharf down in Portiki, is to show a brighter future for all Kiwis who want to call that part of New Zealand home. And we can't let this small minority of recidivists who are never going to listen to anything that you say, I say, Parliament says, until they meet the full force of Ringakaha, and that means a strong hand. It's beyond cavil. It's quite simple.